very good morning to you and a very happy Independence Day. Welcome to TTT Limited's live coverage of the parade in commemoration of the 57th anniversary of the independence of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Vidya Ramphal. I'm alongside Major Jermaine Rochford, a 20-year veteran in the Defense Force and the acting commander of the 1st Engineer Battalion. Welcome, Major.
Thank you,
It's a pleasure to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to see him. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome. Welcome to our Independence Parade 2019 here at the Queen's Park, Savannah, as you await the personnel from the various arms of national security and other agencies to come on parade this morning. I'm right. This morning we have 11 armed contingents and 10 unarmed contingents preparing their way to come on parade. We're waiting in fall in by about 7:30, and they should be marching on to the parade video.
Yes, certainly, and this is the fall-in area. We're now looking at the parade grounds itself, and these are the markers who will set the tone for the parade to come on.
That's correct. So they're equally spaced, and all the detachments will form up on the markers as we prepare for the parade.
And, of course, Trinidad and Tobago gaining independence from Great Britain, August 31st, 1962. It was on the midnight, 30th August 1962, that the Union Jack was lowered and the Trinidad and Tobago flag was raised for the first time. We're celebrating the 57th anniversary of it. And, of course, military parades are held at the Queen's Park, Savannah, and Scarborough, Tobago also. And for many years, Major, I'm sure you're aware, the head of state, of course, the Governor General would have presided over between 1962 and 76. That's until the president assumed the role. And, of course, this is the second year that our current president will be assuming the role at the parade grounds.
Yes, Sir Excellency Paula May Weeks. This is the second parade at Queen's Park, Savannah for the Independence Parade. And we are all looking forward to seeing her and the other arriving dignitaries here at the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Of course, Major, I'm sure that you yourself have been out there.
Yes, I have
been. Standing in the fallout area?
I must say, the Independence Parade is one of the most enjoyable parades, Vidya. I like the crowd response, you know, the whole atmosphere, you know, and the mere fact that we are celebrating our independence, it gives you that really patriotic feeling being out there in the parade.
And of course, we're on the paved surface, and I'm sure that given your 20-year stay in the military, that you were actually were you on the unpaved surfaces one time?
I enjoyed the paved surface. The paved surface.
I would believe that.
Yes.
I've had stories about very dusty outfits at the end of it.
It's a welcome innovation to have the paved surface, and that is how we do our march pasts on a paved firm surface. It allows for better marchability, as you will want to say, for want of a better word. And it allows you to keep proper pace, proper distances, and it allows the person on the parade to really enjoy the parade as opposed to struggling in the soft ground.
Yes, it was hugely controversial when it was paved more than 20 years ago. But certainly it has been appreciated by the military and all of those who parade here. And the various bands will be just getting themselves ready. The instruments are just coming into hands right now.
At this point in time, I see the parade sergeant major. He is marching along the parade and then just ensuring that everyone is properly spaced, everything is okay on the parade ground, that all persons are ready. And we see the lance bearers to our east. And I have a good shot of our parade sergeant major right now, making his way. That is Warrant Officer Class 1 C. Julian. Checking to make sure all the markers are properly in line and ready to accept the detachments.
I don't know if you could speak a little bit about the way that he's dressed in terms of the sash. There's a lot of symbolism involved.
Yes, the red sash is what is worn by what we call our senior non-commissioned officers, and it's part of their dress. That white dress is our highest form of dress, called our ceremonial order. And this is worn by all our troops in the military for this Independence Parade. And there we have a shot of our bands. And we have a few bands here with us. You have the Trinidad Tobago Defense Force Seal Orchestra. There's the Trinidad Tobago Regiment Band and Corps of Drums. We have the Prison Service Band and the Fire Service Band, forming the mass bands under the direction of Major Kester Francis, the Director of Music. And a beautiful shot here of the lance bearers. They are marking the position where Her Excellency will form up for the parade.
As we mentioned, the symbolism, of course, the lance was one of the weapons used in wars many years ago, still forming part of the military style, the parade here today.
Yes, but there are several of the items here on parade are symbolic of traditional warfare in the early days, and I'll speak more about things like the colors, etc., when they form a parade as well. So just in about a few minutes' time, we'll have the troops, as you can see, they're all standing by to march on, take their positions on the parade square for the Independence Day Parade.
And as you mentioned, the bands, the Defense Force Steel Band, I think it's the only one of its kind in the world.
That's
for
right.
a military organization.
Correct, correct. Yes, we've made history, and we've sustained it as well. The Defense Force Steel Orchestra, they provide a musical support, and right now they're forming up and they're marching on, led by the massed bands. And it's to the tune of Pan in the 21st Century, under the direction of Major K. Francis. And they lead the troops onto the parade square from the eastern end.
And of course, there are several detachments here. I don't know if you can tell us a little bit about what detachments are on today.
Detachment we have today are 2 detachments of the Trinidad Tobago Regiment. We have 2 detachments of the Trinidad Tobago Coast Guard. We have 2 detachments of the Trinidad Tobago Air Guard. 1 detachment of the Trinidad Tobago Defense Force Reserves. 2 detachments of the Trinidad Tobago Police Service. 2 detachments of the Trinidad Tobago Coast Cadet Force. So they form the armed contingents, and they'll be formed up to the front half of the parade. The rear half of the parade will comprise 2 detachments of the Trinidad Tobago Fire Service, 2 detachments of the Trinidad Tobago Prison Service, 1 detachment of the Trinidad Tobago Special Reserve Police, 1 detachment of the Municipal Police Service, 1 detachment of the Traffic Wardens. Traffic Wardens will be on parade today. 1 detachment of the St. John's Ambulance Brigade, 1 detachment of the Trinidad Tobago Red Cross Society, and 1 detachment of the military-led academic training program, otherwise known as MILAT.
MILAT, that's right. And as the troops make their way onto the parade ground,
all dressed in outstanding white colors. Those are MILAT. They are being escorted, and we have a beautiful shot there of the regiment leading the armed contingent as they make their way westward on the parade square to their positions. And in the background, certainly those who are seated in those bleachers on the eastern side are really enjoying this spectacle here this morning.
Force, of course, made up of the regiment, the Coast Guard, the Air Guard, and the Defense Force Reserves. And the Commander-in-Chief, of course, the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Paula Bailey's.
The Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, they're also celebrating 57 years of their formation, as well as the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, 57 years. Regiment and Coast Guard being formed as a requirement for our independence in 1962.
Yeah, 23rd July to be exact.
Yes.
5,000 men and women into the regiment headquarters and the 4 battalions, of course, as the second in command of the 3rd Battalion. You're based in Kamuta. Of course, there are also the camps in Camp Ogden, Camp Surrett in Laramine. A lot of people don't know about that particular camp.
That's correct, right? And also the Support and Service Battalion in Chaguaramas. At this time we have the unarmed contingent, led by the Fire Service Band, and Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Band, and they are now bringing on the unarmed detachments onto the parade square, and they will form the rear half of the parade.
And the police service has been in operation for over 200 years. And it dates back to the year 1592, when the first settlement was made in Trinidad and Tobago. That was at San Jose de Oruña, now known as St. Joseph, of course, when the office of the Cabildo, or Town Council, controlled the police force between 1592 and 1792. Of course, under the British occupation, things changed substantially. Currently over 6,500 officers in the police service, several branches, sections, units, and over 80 police stations throughout the 9 divisions in Trinidad and Tobago. And there's also, that's not a real plane, by the way. There's also a plane. I don't know if you could explain why that's there.
That's a prop from Carifesta.
Oh, it's from Carifesta.
It may have been left here as part of the show.
Yes. Well, it seems entirely appropriate.
Yes, it does. It does.
It's not going to form part of the air guard, I'm sure.
Correct. No. Yes, it was form part of the Carifesta props, and I think it was a very nice set. That was the first booth, so to speak, that you would have encountered on coming into Carifesta. Coming in your view now, we have Mylat cadets, proud in their blue tunics, dark blue tunics.
A very important program, Mylat, to help at-risk young men between 16 and 20. Are there a lot of graduates that move on from one to the next?
From the
Mylat into the military side?
We do get some, and they move on to several agencies, police service, fire service, other agencies as well, depending on those areas that they enjoy, that they succeed in.
First cadets for Mylat were welcomed back on 2nd of May 2007, so in its 12th year already.
See members of the Red Cross Society now making their way onto the parade square, just behind the Mylat detachment.
And every time any of the units pass the crowd on the far side, massive eruption of cheering. This is what they come to see.
It is really enjoyable to see the personnel on parade. It's really nice when you have weather like this, because it really brings out the color and the spectacle of the parade. It's really bright and nice. The backdrop of the Northern Range. nice green. It really contrasts with the white.
That's right.
Of the parade. There you have
Wonderful
it.
shot of it there.
Yes, there you have it.
Brian Lara's residence in the background.
I tell you.
You'll be playing cricket at the Savannah today, I understand.
Okay.
So I'm sure you'll be knocking up right now as the parade is going on, if he's not here already.
That's right. And what we're seeing here are the color escorts and the color party preparing to march on the colors. And that will come up in a bit. We just await the personnel and parade to get themselves in order before the colors are marched on. As the color warrant officer, just ensuring that all the colors are prepared. The color escort is well dressed.
Ladies and gentlemen,
so it's a procedure being taking place right now with the colors.
The 57th anniversary of independence of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Show your appreciation. Please.
So the color warrant has just finished preparing the colors to march on parade. And our armed and unarmed contingents are on parade. And awaiting the parade second in command. So the color parties are getting in position. Being carried right now in red. That is our national color, followed by the color of the 1st Infantry Battalion.
Draw your attention to the eastern side of Parade Square. You can see colors, flags, and banners. Marching to its time for the ceremony, marching to the parade.
And the colors represent the different arms?
Yes, so the red color you see there will be the presidential color. The one in green in your screen right now is the color of the 1st Infantry Battalion. To the rear will be the color of the Trinidad Tobago Coast Guard, and to the rear of the Coast Guard is the color of the Trinidad Tobago Air Guard. So they are standing by.
Well, the bleachers at the back are totally filled to capacity,
yes.
And there's also some standing room there.
That's right. That's right.
Not too many umbrellas just yet, but I'm sure they will appear very soon.
They will appear. They will appear. The conditions are good. The conditions are very good. So the color parties are standing by. Presidential color is being carried by 2nd Lieutenant Sudin Singh. The regimental color on the right of our screen is carried by 2nd Lieutenant De Freitas. So at this time the parade commander is preparing the parade for the parade second in command. Commander Polo is preparing this parade for the parade commander, Captain Douglas Archer.
Parade marks off the start of festivities for the 57th anniversary of Trinidad and Tobago's independence, and it certainly is one of the exciting aspects of Independence Day celebrations here in Trinidad and Tobago, and what a view that is.
Yes, it is. It is. And the grandstand is filled with persons out to see the parade. I'm sure along the route, person preparing to see that route march, another spectacle as well.
Yeah, that's the other part of it. Spectators enjoy the different units marching along the roadways in Port of Spain, of course.
So we have Commander Polo, parade second in command, awaiting the arrival of Captain Douglas Archer, who is the parade commander. The parade is currently stood at ease. Commander Polo is mounted, so is Captain Douglas Archer. We are expecting arrivals of Minister of National Security, Honorable Chief Justice, the Honorable Prime Minister, and of course, Her Excellency, our President, Paul Weeks.
Of course, is the Attorney General.
Yes.
The Honorable Faris Al-Rawi arriving.
Ladies and gentlemen, arriving into position now is the parade commander, Captain Douglas Archer.
Captain Douglas Archer now arrives,
Captain Archer
being
is
escorted by his aide, Major Benjamin.
to the parade commander.
And I'm told that the horse on parade is Onesta, who would have also appeared in a few other parades. Colonel R.N. Jeffrey would have been aboard Onesta in 2017. So, of course, the horses having their moment to shine also. It forms an important part of the military. In fact, the mounted branches would have disappeared after warfare became mechanized, but still forming very much part of military parades.
Yes, the mounted branch has really been a big support in terms of the mounted aspect of the parade. So they, of course, are going to be escorting Her Excellency when she arrives on parade. So at this point in time, we see the parade second in command hands over the parade to the parade commander, Captain Douglas Archer, who will now take command of the parade. And the officers on parade go to the equestrian training at the mounted branch. So lots of prior practice and preparation for this day.
And once again, it has been handled expertly, shall I say, with military precision.
Military precision. That's the word. That's the word. See, the parade second command is in position. You see, Commander Polo is now in his position, and the parade commander will now give the instruction to march on the colors. He's getting in his position now as we get that beautiful view of the Northern Range backdrop.
Queen's Park Savannah was part of the Péchier estate until it was bought over by the town of Port of Spain, as it was back then. That was Governor Woodford would have handled that particular transaction. He envisioned it as the lungs of the city.
Yes.
It certainly has. It's been an area for recreation and much more. Cultural activities, the parades you see here today. And the very grounds in which the parade is taking place was also the site of the racing facility, which was here until the early 1990s.
Okay. Yes. And marching forward there, we see the officer who is about to, what we call, break the president standard. So when Her Excellency arrives on the Queen's Park Savannah and the Parade Square, and by breaking that standard, it indicates that Her Excellency is present. So he is in position. So we are all set and just, so with that move, the parade has been stood at ease, and we await the command to march on the colors by the parade commander.
And in the background, that is a shot across the Savannah in the region of President's House, which should indicate that the Commander-in-Chief is on her way.
Correct. Proudly escorted by members of the mounted branch.
And the mounted branch still forming an important part of crowd control.
That's right.
And I remember as a young man coming up to the Queen's Park Oval to watch cricket, there they were. They would help guide the crowds in. And
Yes.
those were the days when
Yes.
Test cricket would attract thousands. These days you can just drive up 5 minutes after 10 and get a spot.
The colors are now being marched on. The order has been given. And they're marching on to the song of Miami by the massed bands, directed by Major Kester Francis. Shot of the colors, the presidential color, the colors of the 1st Infantry Battalion, trying to be a Coast Guard color, the trying to be a Air Guard color, and in the unarmed contingent, sorry, that's the armed contingent, we also have the trying to be a police service color, also getting into position. Air Guard color and the color party. So the colors basically represent the unit, and in the olden days of warfare, when the troops see the colors on the battlefield, they know that the unit is still standing. If the colors go down, you know that your unit is about to be defeated. So it's always important to protect your colors. So colors are held in high esteem today. So that's why they are consecrated and given the highest honor. Troops are have now presented arms. The parade commander has the troops orders arms, and we have them stood at ease as we await the arrival of the Minister of National Security, Honorable Stuart Young.
These colors hold a special place in the parade and the ceremonial history as they are consecrated flags of the various formations. This year is even more significant, as for the first time in history, the consecrated flag of the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service is on parade.
Okay, that announcement indicated that the Trinidad Tobago Prison Service flag is consecrated, so it's now referred to as a color. As a color.
And it's appearing for the first time.
Yes, that's very good.
It's a very important moment.
Yes.
And I'm sure that it will be noted in the history books. And the final inspections taking place.
You see
just atop the rifles, the bayonets, which would have appeared in World War I, largely disappeared. They're more for ceremonial reasons. The swords also very much in evidence. And as we talked about, some of the relics of warfare gone by still appearing very much in these parades.
Yes. We have more modern weapons of war.
Which will be showing up later on.
So the troops are now stood at ease, and as we see, we are awaiting the arrival of the Honorable Minister. At this time, the Parade Sergeant Major will be seen making his rounds, as you can see in the background, making sure all the troops are in order. Everything is in line, everything is ready.
And the dignitaries continue to arrive. We already have the arrival of the Honorable Attorney General. And of course, the traffic branch of the police force.
Yes, this will be the special branch. Will be providing the security escort. Special branch of the Trinidad Tobago Police Service. As we welcome the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Stuart Young.
And he gets a hearty round of applause as he appears, and acknowledging the crowd as he appears. Of course, he will stay in position as with the arrival of the Prime Minister and President later on. And the mountain branch in the background,
Yes.
but in the foreground,
we have the what will be the Chief Justice being again escorted by members of the Trinidad Tobago Police Service Special Branch and the Traffic Branch. And you can see the crowds coming across in the background, all wanted to get that position next to the parade square, which is almost full actually, but you can still get a peek.
it's always widely followed. Great attention towards the parade on Independence Day morning. So glad you can join us here on TTT for this broadcast. And, last year, of course, this broadcast would have marked the first for TTT Limited.
Congratulations.
Here we are once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the Honorable Chief Justice.
The Honorable Chief Justice Stuart Young.
Mr. Justice Ivor Archie.
Honorable Chief Justice Ivor Archie, my apologies, and Mrs. Archie. Just arrived.
Security and the Chief Protocol Officer. Honorable Chief Justice, sir, welcome and a happy independence to you and Mrs. Rodriguez Archie.
And he gets a generous round of applause here.
Yes.
The timing and the way that this is done every year
Yes.
takes great planning. I'm sure that the planning for 2020 will begin tomorrow.
Oh, but the planning for Independence Parade takes place at least 3 months out. Yeah. So Minister of National Security ensures that everything is put in order in anticipation of this event. And of course the rehearsals to follow the preparation of the grandstand, you know, all the persons, make sure the media is notified to get there on time.
We're
Yes.
here.
Yes, so all that is part of the package. And we have other dignitaries arriving. This should be our Prime Minister.
And in the background, the mounted branch ushering in the President.
Yes.
You just have to look at the license plate of the vehicle to the left of your picture, and you can tell
Yes.
who it is.
It says PDM1.
And you can hear the applause coming up immediately as the crowd sees the arrival of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. T. Christopher Rowley, and his wife, Mrs. Sharon Rowley.
Protocol Officer, Ms. Joanne Alfred. Honorable Prime Minister, welcome and a happy independence to you and Mrs. Rowley.
the crowd erupting into applause at the arrival of the Prime Minister and Mrs. Rowley. They're welcomed, of course, by the Minister of National Security and the Chief Justice as they make their way up to their seats.
I also recognize the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Vel Lewis. He also is just to welcome the Prime Minister. And here we have the mounted branch escorting Her Excellency as she makes her way to the parade square. The Trinidad Tobago Police Service, a mounted branch under the
this is
command
an aspect that has been part of broadcast.
Yes.
Including the particular carriage which is carrying the president.
Yes.
It harkens back to a different time, doesn't it?
It goes all the way back to our early independence days, because actually the entire parade was done by the officials on horseback. It was mounted. Right? And His Excellency Sir Ellis Clark, he started with a vehicle for the parade. Maybe it was easier for him to do the inspection of the parade that way. And ever since, that tradition continued. And
ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of Her Excellency.
And this would be the original vehicle that was used by His Excellency Sir Ellis Clark. It was the original vehicle.
President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
So, Excellency, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Paula May Weeks, makes her way to the parade square, led by the mounted branch. Accompanying her is the Chief of Defense Staff, Air Commodore Darrell Daniel. And she's getting into position right now.
And at the front of her escort, there were two women officers aboard the motorcycles, which was entirely appropriate.
Please remain standing for the national anthem.
National anthem about to be played.
At this time, the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago will be played. We're not great singers of the national anthem, but I think this crowd did very well.
Very good
It was very good in terms of the rendition among the crowd in the grandstand here at the Queen's Park Savannah. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast here on TTT.
At this time, Her Excellency is on the parade, and the parade commander, Captain Archer, will now ask Her Excellency to inspect the parade. So Captain Archer just paid compliments. So before he speaks to Her Excellency, he pays compliments by giving a salute. and then requests Her Excellency to inspect the parade. So he has just done so, and he turns, and Her Excellency will start inspecting under the musical accompaniment of the band. And here we go. So at this time, the troops are all stood at attention, and Her Excellency will inspect the front and rear halves of the parade.
Her Excellency is a graduate of the University of Law Faculty of Law, Cleveland. She obtained a legal education certificate from Kingwood Law School and was admitted to practice law. She worked as state counsel, won at the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for 11 years, then resigned and entered private practice. On the 1st of September 1996,
Her Excellency Paula May Weeks inspecting the troops here today, and all part of the Independence Day parade.
Yes, this being her second Independence Day parade, and I'm sure she'll enjoy it as she goes along to westward along the parade to now inspect the front half of the parade. Now, inspections are a routine part of any military exercise or operation. So this is a symbol of what is done before any type of operation, the inspection part.
Excellency is also a judicial educator and was the Chancellor of the Anglican Church in the Diocese of Trinidad and Tobago.
Her Excellency is accompanied by the Chief of Defense Staff, Air Commodore Daniel. The Chief of Defense Staff, Air Commodore Daniel, is the second generation air military officer and is the first individual in the history of Trinidad and Tobago's defense force to hold the rank.
Inspection by the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And the vehicle, as you would with any vehicle occupied by the President, has the coat of arms as on the license plate.
Yes, and this vehicle is specifically for Her Excellency for parades. It's the only time the vehicle actually comes out of safekeeping, as we say. Specially prepared for Her Excellency for the parade. So this vehicle is actually smiling now. It's getting to see the outside.
I'd imagine there's not much mileage on it.
Your Excellency now comes towards the Trinidad Tobago Police Service.
And today's broadcast is also being carried on Talk City 91.1 FM. And, thank you so much for joining us today.
And as she goes around the Trinidad Tobago, looks like the Milat candidates. Now coming to the unarmed detachments to continue the inspection.
It's a very significant aspect of military-style parade, the inspection of the troops themselves.
It is. Yes, it all forms part of the routine. Whenever you're preparing for any sort of operation, there's an inspection to ensure all personnel are ready for the operation. So what we're seeing here is what's called a ceremonial inspection taking place.
A lesson really for anyone who has anything important to do. Make sure you have everything you need to get the task done.
Correct. And so it's the same thing here, as Her Excellency now heads west along the parade square. inspecting the rear half, still led by a member of the mounted branch, guiding the way, and also being escorted by the parade commander, Captain Douglas Archer, and his aide, Major Benjamin.
Major Benjamin, of course, well-known name in sport in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. He's also the director of the Special Youth Services program.
Former director of UESPEC. Also, he would have done a lot of great work there. And also has been one of those who's very involved in physical education, especially for those with disabilities. He specializes in that. And an avid golfer, I might mention.
Also accompanying Her Excellency is Major Mohammed. She is the aide to Her Excellency, the aide de camp. Right, Her Excellency has completed the inspection. She comes along the west of the parade square and will now return to her position. I'm sure as she comes in front of the grandstand, we also hear that applaud showing the appreciation for our president as she comes around the grandstand just about now.
And now the vehicle makes its turn at the western side of the parade grounds. Now starts to head towards the center of the parade grounds here at the Queen's Park Savannah in front of the grandstand. And as Her Excellency makes her way to the front of the grandstands, another round of applause erupts. I think we can say she is reasonably pleased with what she says.
Yes. The inspection has just been finished and the parade commander will now request of Her Excellency to carry on with the rest of the parade. And as we can see the flags blowing in the background, we know it's really comfortable for the soldiers out there and all personnel on parade.
Very much so. The weather has been very kind to those on the parade. There have been years where it's been unbelievably hot and not much wind.
That is true.
Never, of course, the best conditions.
So Her Excellency has now given leave for the parade commander to carry on with the rest of the parade, and we now look forward to seeing the march past.
And the march past, everybody is eager to see this part. Many of the people in the grandstand actually have family members on parade, so they're just waiting for that ideal moment to get their cheer in.
Yes.
Allow their family member to know that they're here.
Yes. And that's true. And in addition to the march past, we'll have a mechanized drive past. We'll have a fly past as well. Also, a look forward is the display by the mounted branch.
And the different formations, which are always exciting to look at. Months of preparation, and this is what the troops look forward to.
Yes. It also requires some level of physical fitness as well, because
That's right.
The route march may look on the outside enjoyable, but as you get into it, it really takes a toll on you. So it takes one to ensure that he or she is properly prepared, physically fit to be in these parades. And here we have the number 1 detachment led by the Trinidad Tobago Regiment as we begin the march past here on the 57th Independence Parade at the Queen's Park Savannah. The color party, presidential color, number 1 1st Infantry Battalion color. We have the number 2 detachment led by Captain McIntyre.
The Trinidad Tobago Regiment, of course, is one of the larger military forces in the region and has been used in peacekeeping and humanitarian situations from the Caribbean region.
Trinidad Tobago Coast Guard are now in picture as they come around to head east along the parade square. In your picture you have the Trinidad Tobago Regiment in their number 1 ceremonial dress. As they go past Her Excellency, they will now give an eyes right as they pay compliments to Her Excellency as they go past.
Ladies and gentlemen, shall we put our hands together for the female detachment of the Trinidad Tobago Regiment?
The color party now passes Her Excellency. And here we have the Trinidad Tobago Coast Guard and the Trinidad Tobago Coast Guard color as they approach Her Excellency. So all detachments as they pass Her Excellency will give an eyes right and pay compliments to Her Excellency and continue with the parade. In view right now are the Trinidad Tobago Air Guard. Well, the Coast Guard now as they approach Your Excellency.
Coast Guard formed back in 1962, located at Staubles Bay, designated as the new home of the TTT Coast Guard Marine Police vessels. A little trivia for you here. The Commander Ellie Peyton Jones was the man who assumed command of the TTT Coast Guard for the first time 27th August 1962. That was the first commissioning ceremony at Staubles Bay.
Yes, in front of us you have the Trinidad Tobago Coast Guard led by Lieutenant C. Diaz and the number 4 detachment led by Lieutenant J. Straker. And right now we have the Trinidad Tobago Air Guard in front of us, number 5 detachment, and the Air Guard color carried by Pilot Officer A. Findley. Trinidad Tobago Air Guard, Flight Lieutenant M. Charles and Pilot Officer Amoy Joy Daniel.
The most recent aspect of the regiment formed back in 2005. The Air Guard, of course, is located at Piarco International Airport. And that's on the side of the old airport.
Old airport side, that's right. Yeah. Called the Ulrich Cross Station. So before us we have the Trinidad Tobago Police Service as they make their way past Her Excellency. Right, they are led by Mr. Jeffrey Hospitalis, Acting Superintendent of Police. And the police colors carried by Acting Superintendent of Police Kelvin Thomas. And that detachment is followed by the Trinidad Tobago Police Service Woman Assistant Superintendent Police Karen Lancaster Ellis. We have a Trinidad Tobago Cadet Force. Before us right now, detachment number 10. And of significance, you will see two color of dress. You have the Air Cadets, and we have the what we call the regular land cadets. So that's the difference in the color.
Detachment number 11.
And the cadets actually were formed not too far from here, Queen's Royal College and St. Mary's College. First units were formed on May 10th, 1910.
By Pilot Officer Stephen Hart and Second Lieutenant Javon Beacon.
109 years. What history?
Yes, that's true. Yes. And the cadet force have now gone on further to have a naval cadet branch and also an air cadet branch. So they're really expanding the cadet force.
Trinidad Tobago Fire Service.
We have the Trinidad Tobago Fire Service.
Divisional Fire Officer Wendell Williamson.
Mr. Wendell Williamson leads the Trinidad Tobago Fire Service first detachment. He's the divisional fire officer, followed by the fire color. Acting fire officer Cleve Cummings leads the fire color. And we have the Assistant Divisional Fire Officer, Joan Hospitalis, leads the Women Detachment of the Trinidad Tobago Fire Service as they pass to excellency.
Yeah. Interestingly, the fire service is actually part of the police service until 1951. Somewhere in the region of 3,000 members serving at all ranks at this time.
The prison service now comes before Her Excellency, and they are led by Superintendent of Prisons, Weda Eastman.
Historic moment, as we mentioned, for the prison service earlier, the first time the consecrated flag making its appearance here at the Queen's Park Savannah for the parade.
Prison service is led by Superintendent of Prisons, Lutz Paulino Jacob.
And we now have the prison service women's detachment, and they are led by Superintendent of Prisons Lourdes Obino Jacob and Assistant Superintendent of Prisons Randolph Orozco.
Trinidad and Tobago Special Reserve Police Detachment.
The Special Police Detachment are now coming past Her Excellency, and they are led by Assistant Superintendent of Police Ian Edwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together for the Trinidad and the Tobago Red Cross Society Detachment. They are led by Ms. Patsy Randall and Minorin Martin.
On screen we have the Trinidad Tobago Municipal Police Department, led by Assistant Superintendent Dunstan Wren.
They perform an important function in the various municipalities across Trinidad and Tobago.
And on screen we just had a shot of the traffic wardens. Now we have the municipal police, but they are followed by the traffic wardens. Traffic wardens are now they have just paid compliments to Her Excellency, and they are followed by the MILAT, Military-Led Academic Training Program cadets, led by Warrant Officer Class 2 K. Eiffel. Looking very smart in their tunics.
The MILAT program was developed to help trainees develop positive character, among other things, learn and enhance their vocational and military-based training skills, and attain an academic certificate. And it was developed to help at-risk young men 16 to 20. And in the last 12 years, it has helped so many young men in Trinidad and Tobago.
On screen right now we have the Trinidad and Tobago Red Cross Society making their way past to Excellency. They're led by Miss Patsy Granda and Yingrid Martin.
Paying compliments are the Trinidad and Tobago Pentecostal Crusaders.
The Trinidad and Tobago Pentecostal Crusaders are now passing Her Excellency. and they are the last detachment. Well, no, we also have the K9 branch of the Trinidad Tobago Police Service. They are about to pass the extension in a very beautiful formation here on the parade square. The K9 unit, last seen on parade square 15 years ago, have been revived, and we see they are now doing a beautiful formation to the applause of everyone here at the Queen's Park Savannah. The officer in charge is Sergeant Donowa of the Trinidad Tobago Police Service K9 Division.
They also form a very important part of crime detection, especially at the airports.
That's correct. And in other areas of security as well.
That's right.
These dogs are specially trained for narcotics, to search for cadavers, as in bodies, for security purposes, explosives, and a wide area of security. Dogs and handlers so trained.
And the handlers and the dogs themselves, they form a very special bond. We've seen instances, I'm sure you've seen them also,
yes,
of dogs actually mourning the loss of their handlers,
yes,
especially in a military setting.
Yes, yes. And the dogs are trained to protect their handlers, just as the handlers are trained to take care of the dogs. Very good display by the K9 Division of the Trinidad Tobago Police Service, as they pay compliments to Her Excellency and make their way back to their position on the parade.
When man's best friend becomes man's greatest protector. First appearance in 15 years, and certainly it will not be their last. So I believe we've seen all the detachments that have gone past already.
Yes, we have seen all the detachments, and you should know that simultaneously the parade is taking place in Tobago. It's just a half-hour delay in the proceedings across there. They will also have a similar format.
Tell you what, the K9 unit is getting a lot of applause on the far side.
It is.
The crowd are absolutely, pardon the pun, lapping it up.
And you see, it's important that the country sees the capabilities of our security services, our youth services. All the divisions on parade are basically a display of patriotism and what we have to offer as a nation.
But as they make their way off, a delicious breeze makes its way across the Queen's Park Savannah. Certainly the crowd and the contingent out there will be happy by that.
As we stand by for the next event, which ought to be a fly past our air assets from the Trinidad Tobago Air Guard and other arms of the Ministry of National Security.
I was actually on a training flight for the Air Guard some years ago, where a plane from that had just come from Afghanistan had come and given the Air Guard an idea of how to fly in a combat situation.
Yeah, that's interesting, and you actually got that experience. That is really interesting.
My
really
stomach has never forgotten it. In fact, several. I used to think I had a cast iron stomach, but several people on the flight media didn't last through it. It was the first time I've seen the Northern Range that close up.
Ah, and at that angle.
At that angle, yes. It was quite something. And I remember the officers had told me, as we await the arrival of the flyby, they had been battling the Taliban just a week before.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they came there with that experience fresh with them, I tell you. Yes.
This is the parade in commemoration of the 57th anniversary of the independence of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago on TTT, and you're listening to coverage on Talk City 91.1 FM. I'm Vidya Ramphal alongside Major Jermaine Rochford, and we are bringing you the coverage from the Queen's Park Savannah, and it's been a wonderful morning, great weather, and certainly it's lived up to all the expectations.
It certainly has, Vidya, and the troops on parade look very relaxed, very calm, and are really enjoying the parade this morning, and much to the delight of the onlookers here at the Queen's Park Savannah. As we stand by for the the fly past, which should happen any moment.
And of course, as we mentioned, the Air Guard situated at Piarco International, 11 acres of land formed by Cabinet Minute 1936, July 2005. And they were added as separate formation unit of the TNT Defense Force on the 1st of August 2005.
Okay, so there has been a change. You now have the drive past first prior to the fly past. So the drive past is now taking place.
Other respective branches of the protective services of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
So before us right now we have the mechanized assets of the Trinidad Tobago Regiment, starting off first with the motorcycles, part of our dispatch riders. The Trinidad Tobago Defense Force, motorized assets. Before us right now we have other motorized assets coming along. We have the troop carriers, 7-ton trucks. So on view right now we have our dispatch riders, and they are used for recce's. We have delivery of important documents, and they are led by our mechanical transport officer, Lieutenant Fletcher. He takes the salute. We just have on display combat vehicles, which are used for security operations. Before us we have a troop carrier, a 7-ton troop carrier. And these are vehicles that are commercially available, however they are upgraded for military purposes.
And as part of the 3rd Battalion of Engineers,
Engineer Battalion, yes. Yes, yeah, those vehicles specially prepared, yes, I must say so. Yes, we have our heavy duty dump trucks.
And just in case you're wondering why this is part of the military, of course the Army also deals with the disaster situations.
Yes, yes. So all of these equipment assist with not only community development, construction, we also deal with humanitarian and disaster relief efforts, regionally and locally. So the Trinidad Tobago Regiment, the Trinidad Tobago Defense Force assists communities with construction, with rehabilitation after disasters such as flooding, earthquakes.
The earthquake in Haiti 2010, many of the members of the Defense Force would have gone and they've been part of that humanitarian effort in Haiti. Would they?
Some of the fleet of vehicles from the Trinidad and the Tobago Coast Guard. Leading the parade for the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard is 5800 Chief Petty Officer Devon Felix. He is the Chief Petty Officer in charge of the transport department.
The motorized assets of the Trinidad Tobago Coast Guard now take the salute as they pass to Excellency. Noting that the Coast Guard is a naval institution, these are just the motorized assets. So you will not see a ship passing through here.
We are going to see a boat.
We are going to see a boat being towed.
See one.
Yes, you're going to see a boat.
And of course the Coast Guard, the
Yes.
major role, of course, the surveillance of the waters of the TND. Oh,
And here we have the fly past.
Wow. There they go.
Here we have the fly past
Also on parade this morning,
of a
we have Trinidad
a Cessna aircraft.
Coast Guard Interceptor, Edgewater Interceptor. This vessel is used for special
Just
operations,
came during the drive past. So
fisheries protection, and many
there
of
it
the roles of
goes.
the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard plays
Still seeing the fly
defending the
past.
sovereign good of the Republic.
The
of
Edgewater
Trinidad and
Interceptor,
Tobago.
I'm told this
Ladies and
is.
gentlemen, the Trinidad and the Tobago Coast Guard.
And the Coast Guard, very, very innovative to have the boat actually passing on the drive pass.
Following the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard is the Trinidad and the Tobago Police Service.
And the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, to the applause of the crowd. First we have the outriders from the traffic branch, now coming towards Excellency to give their salute. And they're also doing a bit of acrobatics.
Yeah, they certainly are forming that pyramid formation. And of course, these cycles you may have seen in the news provided by the government of the People's Republic of China. And in preparation for that, 12 officers from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service would have gone across to China and spent
Transport officer
2
for the
weeks
Trinidad
there,
and Tobago Police Service is
preparing not
Assistant
only on how to
Jackson.
pilot the vehicles, if you want to put it that way, but also how to maintain them.
Yes, that's very important. We have some more aerial assets. This is from the Ministry of National Security. So we have simultaneously our fly past and drive past occurring, much to the delight of the crowd. More assets from the Ministry of National Security, forming the fly past. And again, coming in from the west, we have another helicopter.
Bringing up the rear of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
While the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service drive past is occurring, we also have, I would really love us to see this right now, on parade there is the drone division of Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, if we could see that quickly, as the helicopter sort of takes center stage right now. There it goes. If we can get that drone mobile asset that is going ahead on the eastern side of the drive pass right now, just about to make its way off the parade square. So follow the police service is the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. Their outriders are now coming onto the parade square.
Approaching from the western side of the parade square this morning, we have the fleet of vehicles from the Trinidad and the Tobago Fire Service. They are led by 2078 Divisional Fire Officer George Rowley on the Ceremonial.
Divisional Fire Officer George Warren is
Fire Service.
now the Mechanical Transport Officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, and he leads the drive past. And I see some, well, I hope they are police drones or national security.
In fact,
I trust that they should be.
just under them, there are some, this is on the western side, just
Yes.
outside of your picture, there are military officers controlling them.
Oh yes,
So
they are.
very much
They are, yeah. So those are the drones of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Division, and they are doing quite well in documenting the parade as the drive past goes, of the fire service goes past Her Excellency. You see vehicles of the fire service. The emergency tenders. And also special utility vehicles that are used at our airport as well. They're all on parade and really bring some color, some extra color to the parade as well.
Certainly do. Fire service 9 ranks from firefighter to chief officer. And they've had a remarkable, they certainly have had a remarkable record in terms of their record in terms from 1951 to present, only 12 professional firefighters have died in the line of active duty. And that, of course, would have included that the tragedy in 1988 at Camp Omega.
Camp Omega,
when,
yes.
4 firefighters would have lost their lives.
They were at the time actually trying to manage a bushfire that was taking place at the time, and unfortunately we had that explosion.
And of course, I'm sure the history buffs listening and watching this broadcast would want to check on that. It's certainly one of the, was a very widely followed in the media event at that time. Of course, one of the firefighters, one of the celebrities, if you want to put it in terms of firefighters, Caleb Lord. He was the first firefighter credited with first ever service number 100. And we're seeing a lot more of the appliances attached to the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service.
Yes. We also just got a view of the Fire Service Search and Rescue Team, Land Search and Rescue Team. And they also have a small boat which symbolizes search and rescue capabilities in our rivers as well. Fire Service Recovery Vehicle. So the Fire Service have just completed their drive past, and we now have the motorized units of the Trinidad and Tobago Prisons Service.
Prison service vehicle making its way across, and the prison service has been part of history in Trinidad and Tobago. The first prison was built back in 1592, before there was a police service. So they've been around the longest. And interestingly, while the first prison was built in 1592, the first women's prison was built in 1854, almost, well, 250 years later. Is there a lesson in that?
Well, it took a while. It took a while. More access of the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service, vehicles for transporting officers as well as inmates. So we have troop transport, we have recovery assets, and we have the prisoner transportation here in the picture right now as they make their way east along the parade square.
And as the prison service, they make their way across, a little fact here for you. Do you know that Hartscut is named after a prison officer? Hartscut, in fact, in Chaguaramas. Yes, named after the principal officer, Daniel Hart, who had cut a channel through the neck of Point Gord, that's the peninsula there, to allow the labor of convicts, to allow small boats to pass through from Cranage to Chaguaramas Bay. Of course, it's quite a large
area on that side. Yes. Yeah,
so,
and that area is now a Coast Guard installation.
That's right. TNT Red Cross Society.
Red Cross Society. And before them would have been the St. John's Ambulance Brigade. So we have both the St. John's Ambulance and the Red Cross Society now completing their drive past east on the parade square.
The western side of the parade square, where the mounted escort will now take up their position with a traditional truck past.
And the Red Cross making their way across, and here is the mounted branch, and this is one of the most exciting aspects of the parade.
Similar to the various other arms of the service, they are also entrusted with the responsibility of providing an excellency to the President.
Well, the mounted branch was actually appointed as mail couriers when they first came on board in 1851, and 1906 the mounted branch were made up of 42 officers at St. James, the former location of the police headquarters.
And they're all in position. So just as the motorized units have come off the parade square, we'll now have the mounted branch. And this is a look forward to all here who come to look at the parade. Acting Superintendent of Police Stephen Williams. He's leading the mountain branch and the mounted branch display. Here we go. So they are doing their trot past as they come before Excellency. They give an eyes right. Now continue with their display.
Some of the horses in the past actually were race horses, the thoroughbreds, which were used for racing. The names are, of course, changed.
Oh yes,
when
yes.
they come into the service itself.
Well executed display by the mounted branch, and it shows the control that one must have as an equestrian. Beautiful.
Of course, when you go back in history, in the history of warfare, when horses first appeared on the battlefield, initially the soldiers were mistaken for some type of mythical beast as they appeared on horseback, and they provoked great fear among those who had never seen horses in battle.
Well, in Greece and in those areas back in the days, you'd have used elephants. So horses would have not been as ferocious as the elephants.
Oh, they were.
But yes, yes. With respect to warfare, the horses would have added mobility and speed, you know. Another well-coordinated display by the mounted branch.
It's a real challenge for the officers, controlling the horses with one hand while
Yes.
holding the lance in the other.
Correct, correct. It's training, a lot of balance, and also one must keep calm because you must keep your horses calm as well. Another aspect of the parade is the firing of the 21-gun salute. And this happens during the national anthem, which is about to be played. And at the same time, you must keep your horses calm during this period. So the parade commander will now advance the parade in review order. They march forward 14 paces, halt, followed by our national anthem.
21 gun salute here at the Queen's Park, Savannah. Also, there was a playing of the national anthem.
"21 gun salute" being the highest form of compliments to be paid rather, in any ceremonial occasion. At this time, the parade commander will request of Her Excellency to carry on with the rest of the parade into the route march, and we see the mounted branch making their way into position to escort Her Excellency off of the parade.
And this is leading up to the departure of the President, Her Excellency Paula May Weeks.
And all the dignitaries will then follow in reverse order to which they came.
Just behind the flag, Fort George, another reminder of the military past of Trinidad and Tobago. Not that Fort George actually saw any action, that is.
But it was positioned just in case.
It was positioned just in case.
It just tells how the state of our world was in back then and where we are now. As we see the mounted branch escorting Her Excellency east of the parade square to the fanfare played by the massed bands.
Her Excellency making her way out of the Queen's Park, Savannah, getting a generous round of applause as she makes her way back, reversing the journey that she would have made earlier. And the sign says it, Happy Anniversary,
Happy
Trinidad
anniversary.
and Tobago.
We see
Dr.
our
Rowley.
Prime Minister and other dignitaries.
As we acknowledge the departure of the dignitaries. Thank you.
Several members of cabinet there.
Yes, you see the President's standard has now been taken down and recovered. Marking Her Excellency's departure from the parade square.
And now we have the departure of the Honorable Prime Minister and Mrs. Rowley.
Of Dr. the Honorable the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and Mrs. Sharon Rowley. They are escorted by the Honorable Secretary of the Minister of National Security and the Chief Protocol Officer.
So the Prime Minister and Mrs. Rowley taking their departure from the parade grounds here, the Queen's Park, Savannah. It certainly has been an occasion that I'm sure he would have enjoyed.
Sure, definitely. Definitely. The atmosphere, the weather, the troops on parade, all are giving that energy, you know, on this 57th anniversary of our independence.
And the special branch officers walking beside the vehicle containing the Prime Minister and his wife as they get ready to depart from the Queen's Park, Savannah.
And I tell you right now, the troops are just eager to start moving their limbs to get on that route march. But prior to the route march, they'll have just a short water break to make sure, again, all is prepared for that route march.
Yeah, it is very difficult on the troops, isn't it?
Yes, it does.
To make that, and the march takes place, leaves the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Yep. So they go down Frederick Street, south continuing on Frederick Street. They will turn west into Park Street, then into Tragwit Road, onto Roxy Roundabout, then north along Long Circular Road, and into the football field outside of the police barracks in St. James. So you can now make sure you're properly positioned to really enjoy the route march today. As we see the departure of Chief Justice Ivor Archie and Mrs. Rodriguez Archie. And also these dignitaries will be at the Toast to the Nation that takes place at Napa. That's at 11.
I'm wondering why I wasn't invited.
Maybe you would, just didn't see the invitation?
Maybe my invitation is in the mail.
Invitation is in the mail.
So there's the departure of the Chief Justice and his wife.
Yes.
And now we'll see the departure of the Minister of National Security.
Yes.
The Honorable Stuart Young.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to acknowledge the departure of the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Stuart Young.
And the dignitaries have gotten rousing receptions and also generous applause as they make their way out of the parade area.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. I invite you to remain seated until the parade has marched off the square. You enjoy the exciting repertoire of music put together for this Independence Day parade.
And of course the music that accompanies the troops as they come off the parade ground is always very exciting.
Always, always, always. So the mass bands are going to be playing a melody of music accompaniment as prepare to head west of the Queen's Park Savannah and position themselves to lead the parade along the parade route. So at this time, the parade Sergeant Major dresses the parade. That is, make sure they're all in line and ready for the route march.
And usually the repertoire on the road includes some of the big hits of the year.
It does, it does, it does.
So I'm sure a certain road march by the name of Family might be in there.
Yeah, the hits that have stood the test of time.
And those also are included. They did
right.
play some of the hits from earlier. Dingole was in there. Pan in the Minor. Pan by Storm and Play It were played earlier.
Yes.
So it's interesting to hear what they've been
What
working
repertoire
on.
they'll come with, yes. The music played by the bands really makes it easy on the troops for the route march because you're actually marching to the beat. So it's it puts that it's less stressful, I should say, and more enjoyable.
So the combined bands making their way to getting ready to lead the troops off here at the parade in commemoration of the 57th anniversary of independence of Trinidad and Tobago.
Again, the mass bands comprise the Trinidad Tobago Regiment Band and Corps of Drums, the Trinidad Tobago Police Band, the Trinidad Tobago Prison Service Band, and the Trinidad Tobago Fire Service Band.
These bands have produced some musicians and singers of note over the years.
True.
Chris Tambu Herbert comes to mind immediately, the four-time Road March champion.
The Director of Music, Major Kester Francis, is currently preparing the band for their march past. 20-year veteran himself of the Trinidad Tobago Defence Force, and he was also a member of Trinidad Tobago Police Service prior to coming to the Trinidad Tobago Defence Force. Additionally, the drum major, Warrant Officer Class 2A George, is currently in front of him. He's carrying what we call that instrument that allows the band to keep in time. So he'll carry it and he'll twirl and he'll spin to ensure that the instruments or the musicians are kept in the same time. So we'll see as they come forward how they twirl that instrument. We have our Commissioner of Police,
Gary Griffith.
Gary Griffith, and his wife, Mrs. Dyer Griffith.
Dyer Griffith, yes.
Yes.
They're in the crowd today also.
Can we please put our hands together for the armed and the unarmed detachments on today's 57th anniversary of
Yes, we have Squadron Leader Marlon Dorich and other officers of the Trinidad Tobago Defence Force. As we see the mass bands led by Major Kester Francis, Director of Music, the drum major, Warrant Officer Class 2A George, the Trinidad Tobago Regiment Band and Corps of Drums, leading the march past and the route march. And as they go off the parade square, they're led by the parade commander, Captain Douglas Archer, followed by his aide, Major Benjamin. Based on the number of contingents on this parade, as I said, 11 armed and 10 unarmed contingents, this parade can stretch as far as 1 kilometer from the first detachment to the last detachment. So all our security forces, the police service, the defense force, the traffic wardens are now en route, ensuring that the route is set and safe and cleared for a safe parade. The Trinidad Tobago Regiment, Trinidad Tobago Police Service are now in view. The colors of the presidential color and the color of the 1st Infantry Battalion. The female detachment of the regiment. We now have the Air Guard in view right now. And the mass bands, as you see, would have been split up to allow each detachment, all detachments, to have some form of musical accompaniment, because the further away you are from the band, the less you will hear the music.
That's right.
So the bands are positioned strategically to ensure that all detachments can get that musical accompaniment to keep in time. In view, we have the Air Guard and the Air Guard color. See, the weapons of choice are the SLR, these self-loading rifles, carried by the Air Guard, and the reserves are here. Trinidad Tobago Defence Force reserves in that very noticeable red beret, marching very proudly here today, the Trinidad Tobago Defence Force reserves.
And as the detachments march past, police band has struck up a very familiar chord, one inspired by the surroundings. Yes, Savannah Grass.
The police service band is certainly in a celebratory mood this morning, really hyping up the crowd. And as I say, it gives the personnel on the parade that motivation to keep on going and really enjoy the parade. Trinidad Tobago Police Service, male and female detachments. You see the female detachment of Trinidad Tobago Police Service carrying the submachine gun. That's the weapon used for this parade.
It's primarily used for the parades, isn't it? The L1A1 self-loading rifle.
Yes, it is. And we are seeing the Trinidad Tobago Cadet Force in view right now, the Naval Cadets and the Air Cadets. We have a very beautiful shot of the Naval Cadets followed by the Air Cadets.
Commanding officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, Lieutenant White, sir. Commanding officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Air Guard, Lieutenant Bates, sir. Commanding officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force Reserves, Lieutenant Mitchell.
The parade second in command, Commander Don Polo, brings up the rear of the first half of the detachment, the armed detachment. And we now have the unarmed detachment now coming forward in the background. So the armed contingent are already off the parade square. They are going to go into position for the route march, followed by the Trinidad Tobago Fire Service Band. They're also playing Savannah Grass. They're also playing the Savannah Grass, which seems to be the popular tune to march off the parade square. And they're leading the rear half, which is the unarmed detachment.
The Fire Service Band came together in September 1984, led by fireman Peter Sam. And they were granted a formation of the Drum and Bugle Corps, 50 members of the TTT Fire Service. And now it's grown into, it's had a life of its own. Corporals Enrique Moore and Keith Coombs of the Police Service Band gave them some much needed assistance at that time.
A beautiful shot here of the fire service with the fire service color. Both male and female detachments making their way off the parade square to start the route march.
Women were not allowed to enlist in the fire service until 1992. That has changed substantially, of course.
We also acknowledge Chief Fire Officer Smith.
And before us, we have the prison service band. And you see the drum major doing his thing in keeping timing to ensure that the band is keeping timing with all the detachments of the rear half. The Trinidad Tobago Prison Service Band, followed by the males and females and the colors of the prison service.
One of the older of the service bands, the prison service, 1978, formed as the Prison Workshop Band with just 8 officers under the direction of prison officer Raymond Lent. He became the first prison bandmaster in 1980. And of course the band went on to visit the Royal Festival in Birmingham, USA, by Her Majesty's Prisons, Buckingham and London, and they performed for Prince Anne and the royal family. I'm sure that was a massive occasion.
Yes, it would have been. Would have been. And a great honor for the prison service as they parade their consecrated colors for the first time. It's a great honor for them today. Looking very splendid here as they position themselves for the route march. We now have the municipal police, Trinidad Tobago police, municipal police, as they make their way off the parade square. Both two detachments of the municipal police service.
These officers would have come out from the Arima area, Point Fortin, I would imagine
Port of Spain.
Port of
Yes.
Spain, obviously, making the short trip across.
That's right.
And of course, not to forget San Fernando.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
And again, adding some color to today's events are the the traffic wardens, as they're captured here right now with that distinct yellow stripe.
They've made an important contribution up and down the length of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to make special mention to the young men of the Military-Led Academic Training Academy.
Again, the military-led academic training program. The candidates are on parade, as you see right now, looking very splendid. They would undergo a two-year program followed by an internship, a work internship, to prepare them for the world of work. Before us now we have the Red Cross Society.
Red Crescent, as it's known in other countries.
Yes.
Yep.
They also assist with disaster relief, humanitarian aid, and also community development, social services.
And once again, for the first time in 15 years, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service K9 unit.
And the K9 unit getting another generous round of applause as they go past. Mentioned that 15 years they haven't appeared on the parade ground.
Wonderful audience, and we invite you to please get to your respective destinations safely. Do have a nice day.
And they bring up the rear of the unarmed detachment, the K9 service. It'll be interesting to know if they will actually be on the route march, but they did it very well for the parade today. The K9s from the Trinidad Tobago Police Service K9 division.
And the K9 divisions, they are the last of the divisions to make their way on, and of course that will end off the parade for today. Certainly has been another very good and very interesting parade. I'm sure that you have enjoyed it, and Major, I'm sure that you have, of course, brought back some memories for you.
It certainly has, and it's always a pleasure to see the parade and to see the spectacle that it is. Also, the energy from all those who are viewing the parade is very, very comforting to know that we have people who are patriotic and willing to come to lend support as we celebrate our 57th anniversary, our 57th independence here in Trinidad and Tobago.
So the final appliances of the parade make their way off, and members, of course, from the TNT regiment
are getting ready to form part of the route march, where there will be the vehicles following the parade. And a similar thing is happening in Tobago as we speak, just as I say, half an hour delay, where the Chief Secretary would have taken the salute, and all other dignitaries as will follow.
Well, Major, it's been a great pleasure having you on with us here on TTT for this broadcast. Thank you so much for your insight into today's parade, and certainly it is going to be very interesting celebration. Stay with TTT all the way throughout today. A lot of great entertainment coming your way. On behalf of Major Jermaine Rochford and the rest of the crew here at the Queen's Park Savannah, I'm Vidya Ramphal bidding you bye for now.
Bye now.